Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome back to the H Cup presented by BTS. We're going to be taking a look at a wonderful matchup here in the playoffs. It's going to be Invictus Gaming facing off against VG.Reborn. I'm Lyrical Dota, joined today by Danelie, Cass, and Danny. This one's pretty exciting. I'm super excited about this one. The top of their group across the board. They beat out 4 other teams each to be able to get themselves here and now, and we're going to see what they're going to be able to do. What do you think about these two teams here?
So, as both of us did manage to take a look at both of these teams before the games, now they just played each other in the WCA. It was a best-of-3 series, and it was a complete 2-0 stomp for VG Gaming. So the first game, it seemed like there was a bit of a tussle, but then in Game 2, IG just got completely stomped. They got no towers, they got no objectives, and VG essentially just rolled over them. Like, both games, I think, did not go for longer than 30 minutes. So that really says something, because now we have some sort of evidence as to how these teams are matching up against each other. The good news for VG Gaming is this is a fresh series, it's a fresh start. Now that they know how VG Gaming plays, Invictus Gaming, maybe this is where VG Gaming can sort of react to VG Gaming and just sort of play it into their hands, just because they know how VG Gaming plays out.
Yeah, that's one thing that you definitely could get, is that you get a clear picture of how each side wants to play. You end up having a little bit more information coming into it than maybe you end up just getting caught off guard. And if we look back through some of those picks in the games, particularly game number 2, you know, IG ended up picking a troll and just like losing very quickly. And that's one of those heroes that you can't necessarily, I think, pick in a vacuum. Like, you can kind of build it into the rest of the draft, but the rest of the pieces just didn't really seem to be there. So I think that maybe they were in their heads a little bit. Who really knows what ends up looking there? And we didn't watch the series themselves, so we can't commentate too much on it. But certainly there's more information going on behind the scenes, and maybe we're going to see that reflected in the draft. And so far, at least, it looks pretty normal. The Invoker first pick, Witch Doctor as well in the first round happens fairly frequently. Is there any sort of suspiciously missing heroes so far? I feel like this is all reasonable.
This is all reasonable. Both teams do love their Invokers, so if they don't want to be dealing with it, they would have banned it, as they did in the previous series. It was the first ban, or I think second ban in the first game. It did manage to go through the second game, but both Ferrari as well as Nono are well capable of handling the Invoker, and for VG Gaming to have this Invoker, IG needs to have a backup plan, because you're giving a strong hero to VG Gaming, and I'm wondering what this payoff here is for IG to sort of ban out other heroes, but to let the Invoker through.
Yeah, definitely. And maybe it's built into something along the lines of dealing with push strats, because you look at the 2 heroes they banned out, they took the Enchantress and the Beastmaster, 2 heroes that are really capable, first of all, of either being, like, for the Enchantress, part of a dual aggressive off lane that could punish a safe lane, although Sven's not really super punishable, I guess. Interesting. I'm very curious, and it seems like if they did have something up their sleeves, it's going to have to come in the next couple of picks, because Sven Witch Doctor is a pretty normal and I guess somewhat aggressive lineup. Like, Witch Doctor is a strong laning hero. You've got Sven with the bonus armor. Potentially you get into a situation where if you pick another strong offlaner, I don't think Nature's Prophet's going to get through this next set of bans if he doesn't get picked right here. But that's something that they could think about running. They go for the Lion on VG.
I was actually thinking it was going to be a Sven pickup. Like, why else would you be banning out the Beastmaster? Yeah. Because a lot of the series that we've casted, Beastmaster has been one of the best heroes in dealing with the Sven, because you know later on down the line, BKB is going to be an item that Sven is going to have to pick up, especially up against an Invoker and now a Lion. So for IG, for now, we're probably going to have to see them sort of draft around this Sven to make sure that they grab heroes that can sort of make space for the Sven, maybe at least get some push going while the Sven's farming, maybe even help them out in the jungle to stack. So IG, it looks like they might be putting their eggs in the Sven basket. Yeah. Let's see what they pick around the Sven, because that's what we've seen a lot in Chinese Dota. They've been picking mostly Sven core. We haven't seen many teams going for dual cores with the Sven. Yeah.
Well, and then it sort of makes me wonder now, what is VG Gaming Reborn? What's going to be the response to this as well? They're taking out a lot of map control heavy heroes, that Night Stalker, the Nature's Prophet as well. And so it's sort of, it makes me wonder now, what is it that they're looking to do? Do they want to run something like a Wisp strat and go like super map control heavy? Do they want to run something like a Bounty Hunter? Oh, it's already been banned out. Yeah, so probably not that. They're probably not going to be trying to run that one. But
probably.
Yeah, it's sort of a unique little thing, and I wonder, like, how much more you can just beat a Sven by running like a dual core lineup, because when those BKB charges start running low, it changes the game completely.
If VG Gaming still do want to have that BKB piercing disable, we did see a couple of Bane picks yesterday, which I feel like still works great versus Sven. And it means that for IG to cancel a Bane's grip, especially one with an Ether lens, you've got to really jump into the backlines to catch out the Bane. So that is an option for VG if they do want to pick that up. One hero to note that is still in the pool is a Chen. Now, there is a very high chance that IG or VG Gaming could be picking this up. Chen would fit into both of their lineups quite comfortably.
Yeah, and that seems like that would really fit with what... I mean, yeah, either one would be doing, but the two picks of IG already deal with it pretty well. And this is something that I was wondering about. They go back for the Faceless Void. I was kind of thinking that vg.r might take this one themselves, but the sort of dyssynergy to some extent of the Sven and the Chronosphere is something that I think is pretty relevant. Obviously, you have the synergy there with the Witch Doctor, but to me, this kind of signals that IG are going to be looking to try and fight with 4 while Sven farms, and then bring him in towards the end. And if you do manage to set up like a really good, well-executed Chrono with somebody right on the edge of it, so Sven can just beat away at them, that's a completely and totally game-changing and winning fight. But it's a lot of pressure to put on the Faceless Void player.
It definitely is a lot of pressure, and I'm actually thinking, is Invictus Gaming considering on picking up a Death Prophet with the Faceless Void? She's probably one of the best mid-heroes left in the game that can utilize the Faceless Void's Chronosphere, so we could be seeing that. With the Faceless Void's Sven combination, what I've actually seen teams do is you'll pick the two heroes and you'll think there'll be like this massive dyssynergy, but what teams normally do with the Faceless Void is that he doesn't use Chronos to set up for the Sven, he uses it to control the opposing team, whereas you're leaving about 2 or 3 heroes left in the fight, and that's the target that Sven's going to be covering mostly. So that's when the Witch Doctor and the Sven, they're going to be jumping on the predominantly loose targets, unless Faceless Void can somehow miraculously get a hero caught in the very edge of the Chronosphere, which doesn't happen most of the time. So it's a weird combination, but I've seen it work a lot. Now with this, with the Ursa pickup now, this Faceless Void becomes an even bigger threat because of this Chronosphere.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I'm a little bit curious as to why they wanted to go for that. I guess one thing that you could think about is that, first of all, he's one of the few heroes that I think can really stand up to Sven if he's able to get that 8% damage reduction. But the other thing is maybe trying to deny those Roches, considering Ursa is going to be able to get them so quickly. So that to me is maybe one of the other reasons. Obviously, IG are going to have that natural strength towards getting themselves into that first Roche because they're dire, but I think that Ursa kind of takes that away from them to some extent, and maybe also a bit of a way to kill off the Faceless Void in lane. There aren't many heroes that have the burst damage that Ursa does if you're able to control them, and you know, Lion has a ton of control, but Lina is going to be the hero that they go back for. We've seen a lot of support Linas, but I'm kind of wondering if this is a core. It feels like it could be.
It could be, but it also could be a support. Like, it's an extra disable. Even if she's a support, she's still going to have access to Laguna Blade, so it's really up to IG how they want to be running the Lina. Oh god, we're going to have an Enigma pickup here for VG.Reborn. Yeah. It shouldn't be the Enigma Tidehunter combination. As much as I would love to see it, I don't really think Invictus Gaming would let that through. But for IG, their last pickup now, it could essentially be a mid or a support. Now, you're guessing that this is going to be a mid Lina, correct? Going up against the Invoker?
I think that it could be. The only reason that I might say that is because I was looking at the way that it ended up working out the last couple of times, and it looks like Ferrari had a little bit of trouble with no on that mid Lina that they ran last time. So the previous game that happened just a second ago, Lina ended up going pretty freaking unbelievably good and kind of rolled over them, and so I'm wondering if it might have also been a bit of a deny pick. I mean, granted, it also has great synergy there with the Faceless Void. You have great setup for your Light Strike Ray afterwards. It could pose a lot of trouble for whichever offlane VG.R ends up going with if it's a support Lina, but they don't have the luxury of picking first, so that's something else to consider. But the Enigma, yeah, I don't know if they're going to have a great way to really punish this. If it is a Lina, then you can roam into the jungle, but oftentimes the time that you would want to do that would be after Enigma's already gotten a good start.
So we have a Darkseer ban for IG, so it's an indicator that VG's still looking for an offlane, whereas VG, they get rid of the Silencer, which I think we saw one Silencer yesterday.
Yeah, I think we did. At least one. They played it against I think that there's a Phoenix in that game too, or something. It's
Yes.
pretty good. That, I mean, as a counter, and then also as sort of that combo breaker. Because you look at these heroes, they have all of great ultis, and it might be a good way to get them away from, you know, if there's, for instance, a fight around the Roche pit, you basically just win the fight.
10 seconds.
A bit concerned for VG's draft, though. They don't really have the best frontliners, and a lot of them are actually quite squishy outside of the Ursa if he gets the Enrage off. So they're looking into grabbing they need a frontliner, or they need someone to grab a really early mech, which Enigma can do, but depending on how the game goes, he might consider picking up an early Blink to be that main initiator for Vici if they don't pick up an initiating offlane.
Yeah.
The Lich pickup for Invictus Gaming, though, what are your thoughts on this?
Shoring up lanes a little bit more. As we talked about, the Ursa Lion combo is strong enough to give Void a little bit of pause for concern. He probably actually is going to end up.
10 seconds.
Well,
remaining.
I mean, first of all, the bonus armor is one thing. His lane somewhat winning capabilities, it's basically a crutch where wherever IG feel like they're going to be a little bit weak. So I like that combo as well. I feel like VG.R can just go tied here. Honestly, I think that it could end up working out, and that gives, I mean, it does end up meaning that a lot is on Ursa's shoulders, but you've also got this Invoker that scales really well into the late game. And the other thing that you talked about item pickup, I feel like maybe getting somebody else that could pick up a mech would be good, but honestly, it might just be to go for a BKB for Enigma. Outside of Void Chrono, there's nothing else here that ends up piercing it. Wait, does Lich ulti go through BKB? No, it doesn't. So yeah, that would be the only thing that could break a black hole.
So 6 seconds on the clock. What does VG.Reborn want to pick as their final hero? It's going to be an Axe. Oh, it's been a long time since we've seen Axe.
I love Axe. That's awesome. Wow, that's actually really good. Well, Lich is going to need to, I think, have to go top now. I don't think that they can afford to keep him helping out mid and trying to just sacrifice creeps there. So cross your fingers, everybody. We got to hope that there's not going to be a ton of lag. I don't believe that there is because portraits are moving smoothly, but if there are, we might need to do a quick little reconnect, and hopefully that doesn't end up happening. But man, an Axe pickup. I think that probably Enigma is going to be the one that goes for the mechanism, and then Axe is the one that goes for the blink, obviously. And I think that he's going to be solo, too.
He should be. And I think he's going to do a reasonable job in the offlane as well. There's not that much kill potential for IG as they are running the Lich rather than another standard support. Oh, is it really?
Yep, we're going to do it. It's going to be fine. It's all going to end up working out, I promise.
Okay. Okay. Hopefully you make it out alive, but we're in the game anyway. So we presume it's going to be the offlane Axe for VG.R, whereas for IG... So would you say that Wrong is going to be sitting, as the Lich, will he be sitting in the Faceless Void lane to just make sure that the Void gets that the couple initial levels? Because the great thing with Void is, on his own, he actually has a lot of kill potential. We have a smoke from IG, and they're walking right into VG.R. Now, Yang, the Axe, he is completely isolated, and it looks like he may be dying here first. First blood going in the way of IG. Might be the Ursa, and he's gone a little bit too deep. Ferrari's going to be coming in. LSA onto 3! VG.R, they are getting dismantled by IG. This is going to be 4 heroes for a single hero trade. What in the world?
Well, we caught the very end of that one. IG get off to a pretty good start. It looks like, though, VG.R did get first blood. Is that correct?
IG got first blood on the Axe.
Oh, God. All right.
So
well,
VG.R didn't even get first blood.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. That's an issue. The best thing about this is that they have short respawn timers, so you're still going to be able to have No get back over here and pick up his rune. So pretty terrible, but not the worst possible thing that ever could have happened. It's close, though. It's close.
I say otherwise, but who knows? Depends on how VG.R is going to sort of make up for the fact that they've given 4 kills to IG before the game's even started, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
It does look like now they're going to be switching up the lanes a little bit as well. Ursa's going to head up top with the Lion, and they're going to be against the Sven Witch Doctor. Kind of an interesting thing here, and it does end up meaning that we're going to have down here bottom the Axe up against the Faceless Void Lich, and this changes things a little bit. I still think it's a pretty good matchup for Yang as long as he doesn't end up getting completely zoned out by Wrong. Again, sorry for the little bit of lag. It's not too terrible, but it's a little bit sketchy, and should end up being okay, and, well, we'll hope anyways.
I don't know how much Yang's going to be getting in the bottom lane, though. The harassment that a Lich and a Faceless Void can apply to an Axe is huge. Like, he has to pop the Berserker's Call to grab the extra armor, and he's still dropping down to less than 150 HP. Oh, he pops the salve, gets cancelled by XXS. Oh, Yang's going to have a hard time. Up top, though, we've got a stun. They're going to try and kill off the Ursa. The stun from the Lion. He's still running, but the Maledictor is going to be too much. And that's another hero dead for VG.R. IG, this is a complete turnaround of their previous series where you looked at the graphs and everything would go in the way of VG.R. It's completely different this game.
Yeah, they saved it all for here. This is the real thing that they were looking for. It was all a setup for them previously. DDC is wrapping around, though, and they're going to be able to find Bobica here. They spot him out now with End. They are going to be able to catch him off and try and block his pathway. They aren't quite going to be able to, but Ground Pound's still going to be there. Starting to stack up the swipes as well. It is going to end up being a kill bottom lane. Or that's going to be a dead Axe as well, though. So continuing to dive for these ones, a lot of kills going IG's way. They're doing everything that they want, and meanwhile, Sunstrike's going to connect onto Bobica. He was actually ended up being able to get taken out there.
Yeah, End actually missed that kill. He tried to pop the Earth Shock, but the Witch Doctor was too far when he casted it, so he essentially lost too much distance. It doesn't matter, the Invoker still got the kill, so it's not like VGR lost completely everything, but yeah, their lanes are looking, at least their laning phase is looking better here for VGR. You've got the Invoker that's farming relatively well, you've got the Enigma that's getting free farm in the jungle. Your Ursa's not doing that great, he's died once, he's got to make sure he doesn't die again, and Axe may have to consider just farming in the jungle, because honestly, with what Yang's getting in lane, it's really not worth his time, and it'll just be more efficient for him to rotate into the jungle. But it depends if Wrong is there to sort of mess everything up.
Yeah, that's the kind of the thing that I was thinking about, is that it feels like Axe should be able to get away with some of this, but Lich is going to come and try and contest him, and I think that getting a part of those early kills has really helped him out a ton. Already up to level 3, and he's going to be able to continue to mess around with this Axe, who can struggle with dealing with those ranged heroes, and even has that ice armor. God, that's so painful to deal with. Like, he's just going to be able to consistently harass. As far as in the mid lane, Invoker against Lina, Ferrari 430 is going to end up taking a little bit of damage here. She should have a pretty good time, though. Like, I don't think she's going to find a kill onto No-No, but she should at least be able to CS pretty effectively with Dragon Slave.
At 6, Ferrari can kill No-No. He's actually trying to whittle him down so that once Ferrari does hit that level 6, he can just go for an insta Laguna Blade onto No-No. So if you're the Invoker, you've got to be very, very careful in that mid lane. He's actually going to switch up to 3 Quas to make sure he has his HP going back up. But he needs to avoid the Dragon Slaves first, because he may just be taken out that way.
Oh, Yang again. They're going to jump on him. Do they find this? They do end up being able to get him another time through. And it's this slow death by 1,000 cuts that ends up happening, where you consistently just get hit down. Oh my god. They end up being able to find the kill. Was that even Laguna Blade committed? No.
No. That was just a Dragon Slave. The Coconut came from the Witch Doctor too. This is looking like such a promising game for IG. And they've got all the heroes that are able to capitalize on all this early gold. Like, this means that QD is getting a ton of space, Ferrari is going to be a huge threat on the map, and that's obviously going to make him a primary target for VGR. You've got the Faceless Void for the major control for if any team fights do rupture. VGR, they're in a bad spot. Are there any things that you'd be looking to?
It really comes down to that Enigma in the first rotation. That being said, No-No is going to be in a lot of trouble here. He does have the Witch Doctor behind him. They do have the Lion coming in from the other side, but they don't know about this Witch Doctor that's going to move in. Laguna Blade is available. They end up not quite getting there on the Sunstrike. The Earth Spike's going to go. Ferrari 34 trying to drop and get away. He is going to end up going down. So that was definitely necessary, and I don't think they need to bring the Enigma right there, but him getting a little bit more from that helps out a bit as well.
Just an insurance in case Ferrari managed to get out. So still, successful gank. It is definitely what No-No needed as the Invoker. The good news for the Lina is that he didn't commit the Laguna Blade, so he is still going to have access to that, and he may consider rotating into one of the other lanes to get a Laguna kill off. No. And if I was Ferrari, maybe even consider going up into the top lane to try and grab a kill onto the Ursa, because he's already been hindered as the position 1, so if you can even slow his farm down even more, that's definitely going to slow the progression of an Ursa, although they're going to try and turn onto QD, so here we go, Earthshock's there, Hex as well, QD's dropping pretty low, he's got the War Cry, he's going to try and run, tried to go for the Jukes, but Unfortunately, he's not the Duke King. He will be taken down by End.
It's a little bear man, just wanted to give him a little bit of a hug, and it's a pretty nice little get again. You look at this, like right now, the Faceless Void is top of the net worth, and this means that he's going to be able to build into that really quick Vlads, so that's something else that you've got on the side of IG that you need to be concerned about if you're VG.R, because like, even though you're finding these little pickoffs here and there, you still haven't really dealt with this Faceless Void problem, and then eventually this is going to translate into a Blink Dagger, and it's all going to snowball from there. And you know, if you start to get these really huge items up on Void, the rest of the team goes along with it as well. And I just feel like this time around, IG have really put themselves in a great position to win this game, and they're going to jump on to N in the top lane, bringing them very low. They do manage to turn around with the Earth Spike for the moment, and Maledict damage is not going to be enough to find that kill. So they do end up getting away with that Ursa, but yeah, it's a struggle.
DDC's been a complete wonder this game on the Lion. So he's saved N's life just then in the middle lane, managing to secure that kill on the Lina. Lion's so good nowadays compared to when he was just completely ignored as a support. He is occasionally clunky. They're trying to chase down Yang. I don't know if Ferrari would have been able to grab the kill there. Although up in the top lane, are IG poised to go for a kill? It looks like for now they're just going to back up. They don't want to be caught out.
This is the thing, though. Like, you look at this, Invoker right now needs to be pushing out this lane so hard, but he wasn't able to get enough, so he doesn't have the 4 points in both Quas and Exort, and so he can't pressure the mid tower as much as he would want. So they're probably just going to be able to get this tower for free, and there's no trade. And that's just sort of, again, a function of how well they've been able to start off in each of these laning phases. And so the game becomes harder and harder. Like, the lead is going to compound for IG, and VG.R need to do something to come back into this. And I think that this rotation from the Enigma, it's going to be a really key moment in this game. If they're effective, if they can take down this tower and get a couple of kills, I think that they're in a decent position. Otherwise, it's going to be a rough one.
Well, so Bebeka's going to show himself. They're also going to TP in the Lich. So both supports are going to be in the top lane going for a defense, but DDC is coming through Finger of Death. That was as if the Lich wasn't even in lane, but he died so quickly. And all of a sudden, it's just going to be Bebeka who's just TPing out. So they're going to leave the tower to drop, it seems. They've taken the T1 down bottom, so it's going to end up just being more or less an even trade. I actually wanted to talk a bit about the Axe. Yang has been completely crippled in the safe lane because he had such a terrible matchup. He's died a few times. He couldn't really go into the jungle because the Lich would jump into the jungle to pressure him. So he's not going to be able to be that tempo controller for VGR up until he gets that blink. Which, if he gets a little bit of free time to farm, he can finish it in the next 5 minutes, as we all know how quickly Axe can farm. Yeah. So let's see how quickly Yang can get it. DDC is going to be punished.
He's going to run right into them. He gets the Hex off. They are going to be able to chase. Light Strike Array comes through. They don't need to commit the Laguna Blade, but that's kind of tanking the gank. It does mean that they're going to be able to get away on the Enigma as well as the Ursa. So an acceptable loss, I would say, there, as the 3 heroes did rotate for that one. And that, again, opens up space down here in the bottom lane for Yang to be able to build into that first Blink Dagger.
Looks like they spotted out the Enigma, but I'm not too sure what he's hoping to achieve. He was in position and it looked like he wanted to go in for a Chronosphere jump, and he's going to pop it now. So they're going to go a kill onto FY, or you'll assume he does. Yeah, that's going to be... I guess they were trying to buy time for End and DDC to come in. Well, they may lose End here as he's going to pop the End Rage. It's just going to expire. If they can get any sort of disable, they need the vision for Laguna. He's trying to cast it. He gets it. The bear gets roasted.
Oh, that was... I mean, you can see the play right there. It felt like VGR felt like they needed to make a huge play, and being able to get like a 3-person, black hole into afterwards the Earth Spike. The thing was that they didn't spot out the Lich on the other side, able to get that right click off, and that just obviously killed them off in 1 hit. So it was like 1 hit away from being an amazing play, and it just didn't end up working out for them, unfortunately. And they lose a lot from that. Like, they were back, I think, by taking out that tier 1 tower and getting the solo kill on getting the kill on the Lion. With the Lion, but it didn't end up mattering now. It doesn't hurt Enigma's farm that much. Like, he's already got his buckler and probably is going to be able to build into the headdress pretty soon, but you would be further ahead if obviously that didn't happen.
Yeah, not just being ahead though, but because he used the black hole and they didn't really accomplish anything, that's sort of a huge presence off the map, and IG can make these rotations not really having to worry about an Enigma coming in for a potential walk-in black hole. So now all of a sudden you're seeing Lich Sven rotating into the bottom lane. I'm not too sure what they're hoping to accomplish. They did spot some heroes out, but everyone on VGR is just sort of backed up from lane as they've lost vision of some of these heroes, and they are anticipating the gank. And it looks like they have been spotted as well from this observer ward. So
yeah, they saw them
VGR
there. They've got pretty good vision across the map, and this was something that we were talking about earlier, is like the need to contest this Roshan area. Like, because of this, I'm wondering if all of this vision down here is just to make sure that Ursa doesn't get an easy Rosh. And they're doing a pretty good job of it, but it's still something they're going to need to contend with eventually. But the 4-person smoke in the mid lane, they jump now onto 430. The Blink Dagger reveal, Yang is going to be able to help out and get this kill. Lion picks it up in the end, and that was pretty nice. That was a big one to get.
And because it's an axe, he's going to be able to go for consistent initiations. He's not like a Batrider where there's a massive cooldown. The Chrono catches onto 2. They're going to pop the Lich ult as well. It's going to bounce. They kill off the Lion right off the bat. And in the meantime, he actually goes for a quick kill onto the Witch Doctor. Yang's still running, tries to go for the Earth Shock. They will still lose the axe now. Ender's slowed. And FY without the Black Hole, it can't really do anything. Sunstrike onto XXS. He needs to get out. He gets taken down quickly. And now IG, can they keep on chasing? They're still going after FY, and it looks like the Enigma's going to drop. It will end in a 3-for-3 trade. Now they're trying to turn on to QD, and he really wants to finish up the Sven, but do they have any more chase? All of a sudden, it's going to be a bit of a bear sandwich if Ursa doesn't get out of there, and it looks like he's going to think twice about going uphill.
Yeah, he heads out of there. That was an okay little trade there. I mean, you take a look at the net worth; it's still relatively even. I think the fact that you also got that first start-off kill with the Lina, maybe if they would have backed out at that point, things would have gone a little bit better. But they ended up getting slightly too greedy, bit off more than they could chew, and they paid for it a little bit. But the tower's dropping low, so the mid tower's starting to fall. You take a look at the tower situation across the board. They've traded 1-for-1, and you know, in terms of the net worth, despite the bad start that VG.R ended up getting out to, they've been able to bring themselves back into this game, and they're actually a little bit ahead at this stage, which is something that's pretty surprising given how bad that started was.
I think a lot of it comes down to QD. He hasn't really been completely focused on farming. He has been participating with the team, and I think the graph is going to start changing as he is going to start finishing up the ancient stack at least. So huge influx of gold going into Sven's pockets, and now all of a sudden you've got Yang with the initiation, Faceless Void, wiped off the face of the planet, and mid T1 as well. So nice kill as well as tower taken. IG not really in a position to respond, and Sven's finished up the Ancients, and it looks like VGR, they're in an aggressive position to keep the push going. Black Hole is online.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to use this to secure Roshan. It does look like that's what the play is going to be. So they can't come and contest this efficiently. Like, they've already used Chrono, besides Void is down for the next 10 seconds. I guess that it's going to be back up. So if Void was not dead right now, they actually could contest this easier. They're still thinking about going in for the moment. QD is there. Yang ends up being able to get the call. There's going to be the Sunstrike as well. They've already dropped down the Midnight Pulse, but it's Enigma dead. They don't have Black Hole for this fight. Chainfrost is still going. They're going to be able to kill them all off, and just like that, oh man, Ursa's going to end up dying again. They get the Maledict off, the chase over to the side. DDC is able to get the Hex on Ferrari, but there's going to be the Chronosphere onto 2, and now I think the DDC is going to end up going down as well. They aren't going to be able to kill off Yang, but that's still a huge loss. And N trying to jump onto Bobacat, still controlled. They end up being able to get the counter initiation with Axe, but it's not enough. He kills one, but he's going to lose his life in turn. Does he manage to get out? He's trying to go for the jukes, and actually he's going to be able to maybe walk away. No, he's still going to go down, maybe?
He's got Blink.
Nice, well played.
But think about it though.
Yeah.
if you compare the entire trade, that was 4 heroes plus an Aegis for only 2 hero kills on IG. Like, it's great they killed the Sven, but the advantage that BGR was looking for is non-existent anymore. There's no more Aegis. And to get a trade like that, it ends up being a negative trade for VGR. So if you're IG, you're going to be really happy with that, because now there's no Aegis Ursa on the map, and all of a sudden IG's just sort of brought the game back to where it originally was, which is both teams sort of equalized at this point.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, and it does feel like at this point it could go either way, and maybe that Aegis would have been the thing to turn the tide back into the favor of VGR. And I think that denying it out from the Sven is in its own right a pretty big win, because it means that he has to farm a little bit more defensively. Like, he can't go out and be crazy and like try and farm out the entire enemy jungle, and he still is able to take one of the camps, but he doesn't really want to go too much further past that. The thing that I'm curious about is, you know, when this Lion gets his Blink Dagger online, that's the 2 forms of initiation, and I feel like we're going to start to see some more of those come online pretty shortly, as Ursa's gone for the Mask of Madness, but just picked his up as well.
Okay, so what can End really accomplish with this blink? With the axe, they can actually grab a lot of kills. The axe has been a very efficient form of initiation for VG.R. He can jump into the fight indefinitely as long as he's got that blink dagger off cooldown. So, do they want to try and go for a jump on the Void though? There is 2 heroes sitting behind him. They're sort of using him as bait, but it ticks over to daytime and all of a sudden they know that there's support sitting behind XXS, so they're going to leave him alone for now. That's 16 minutes in, and it looks like no one, as you said, no one has really accumulated that much of a lead. It is definitely still on that sort of middle seesaw, and either team can sort of teeter it onto their side. At what point would you see one of these teams sort of really fluctuate in terms of aggressiveness? Would it be VG.R, considering that they've got a lot of solid forms of initiation with the Axe and the Ursa now that's just picked up that blink?
Yeah, and I think also the other thing is that you've got the Invoker Sunstrike. So not only do you have like the huge amount of burst damage that you get from an Ursa, but that extra little bit of pure damage that goes through everything that you're going to be able to get from the Invoker. And I think that if they're comfortable and they have vision on the map where they're going to be able to see where a couple of other heroes are, then they're going to feel comfortable in it. And you see right now, you got 2 heroes of IG in the bottom lane, 2 that were in the mid, and then 1 up top. As soon as they see that type of formation, they should try and look for a kill. But now they're going to end up being in a little bit of a scary spot as 4 heroes have rotated in with the smoke gank, and Lina is close at hand as well if they wanted to try and find somebody. It does look like VG.R backing up though, realizing that something could happen. I think that they smoked, maybe it wasn't under a ward. I thought that it might have been under this ward by the tier 1, but yeah, they're not going to find anybody here, I don't think.
Yeah, no one's showing on the map, so it is a huge indicator that IG is trying to go for an aggressive play. Now, it depends if they check the tree line or not, because FY is still sticking around.
Oh my god.
And if VGR just goes into the secret shop, they'll know he's there. I don't know if that was just... I think that just expired. FY just survived. If XXS moved to the left a little bit more before the expiration time, then they would have known the Enigma was there. Yeah. Oh, jeez.
And I'm wondering if they're going to go for a smoke play themselves. Lion has one, and they could think about going for it, but considering that they just went for a 4-person smoke, they would end up being in a little bit of a scary position. And it looks like for now they just want to keep on farming up these items. And, you know, as we were talking about, this Enigma, after going for the mechanism, is going to be going back for that BKB. So as soon as he gets that online, the only way to break a black hole then is by committing a chronosphere. So it really helps out VG.R's team fighting potential, and they are going to be going for a smoke now, and they might end up running into a couple of heroes here as they're by the Ancient stack.
That's not a couple of heroes. That is the entire draft of IG. Now, the thing is, does VG.R decide to commit into this? You don't see any other heroes on the map, and there's always going to be the probability of heroes sitting up on the hill like this. So it looks like they don't want to go for the jump, and instead, is it going to be IG? Could they be the ones trying to go for some sort of play? They're sticking around and they're going to smoke. Oh no, if they smoke up the hill, this could be a disaster.
Oh my god, Axe is waiting there. He's the guardian at the door. Lion is going to run into him. They're going to be able to think about a counter initiation. I think that they might just leave him. Yeah, he's just going to end up being the sort of sacrificial lamb. DDC tanks the gank and everybody else runs away.
That was such good decision making for XXS. He bypassed the Lion and he walked up the hill to see if there was anyone up there from VG.R. He could have potentially gotten called by the Axe, but that means that the rest of the team wouldn't have been called. Or at least if they did, then he could throw the Chronosphere on top. So very good decisions coming out from both teams. For VG.R to back up and also for the Faceless Void to go for the jump up to double check for his team. Everyone's playing so carefully now. No one's making any sort of reckless decisions. They're all just... They're thinking twice, and they're trying to cover up their tracks if they make any sort of potential bad decisions.
Yeah. What do you think about this Lina with the Aether Lens pickup? I think it's pretty cool. It's got the blink and the Yules as well for that extra value.
And also you have the extra range, not just on the Laguna Blade, but also on the Yule Scepter as well. So she can cast that from further back, meaning that her chase, as well as her sort of trying to get into the backline to those heroes, will be much easier just because of the extra range. So there's nothing wrong with this. There's so many melee heroes for VG.R that you don't really want to be getting too close just to go and hit the backlines.
Oh, look at
FY
this.
with the Invis.
This could be pretty big, although nobody else is around him, and it does look like... Oh, they just dropped a Sentry Ward. Oh, God, you got to be so careful, FY. He is going to run right on into several of them, and they're not going to be walking by the sentry ward. If they're able to get into a good position here, it's halfway through the expiration. This could be absolutely enormous. They end up being able to get him. Oh, God, the lift up. He does still have the opportunity to drop it if he wants to, and it looks like the rest of his team is going to leave him again. God, that's unfortunate.
Well, better him than his whole team, right? Like, you're just losing the Enigma. Yeah. Big problem now. 20 minutes into the game, you've got a Sven with a BKB and Sand and Yasha.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately for VGR, the only way for them to control him efficiently... Actually, I suppose they could use the Berserker's Call, because that still pierces
down
BKB.
Bottom. They've caught on to wrong. He's going to end up going down, and they're going to hit the Laguna Blade now onto DDC. He is going to drop from that, but a 2-for-1 exchange... Well, 1-for-1 really after that other one. XXS still looking to see if he can find somebody. There's the blink away, though. They're going to be fine.
If they had vision of the Ursa, they would have actually chronoed him. But it was nighttime, so they couldn't quite catch anybody.
Oh.
So chrono's still going to be up. No major spells really committed, aside from... Let's not even call Laguna Blade a major spell. That's always off cooldown when fights happen, so
yeah.
That's going to be the exception. But this Sven's huge, though.
Yeah, he's really freaking enormous. There's going to be the Chronosphere committed on a No-No, dropping low. They do not have the Laguna Blade now, and it looks like he's going to die regardless with the Witch Doctor Ultimate committed. Again, I'm just going to apologize to everybody out there. We've had these lag issues for the past couple of days, and unfortunately, the Chinese servers do not really take any prisoners when it comes to this type of stuff. So I apologize profusely, but there's nothing else that we can really do at this stage.
I think we've just restarted so many times to the point where it just doesn't do anything anymore. Maybe it fixes it a slight bit, but then it always just reverts to its previous form.
Exactly.
So, yeah. We're so sorry. We wish we could provide you that best coverage possible, but we don't really have a base in China. So we can't really do that.
You're closer, right? That's some good stuff.
Honestly, since I've been back in Perth, it's been really good. Like, my connection to Chinese servers have been perfect, so I can watch games almost flawlessly. I feel really sorry for you because I know what it's like.
Oh, let's see. Down here in the bottom lane, it looks like FY was getting a little bit scared about the Dragon Slave coming on out, and again, it's kind of slowed down into this, like, nobody really wants to take too much forward of a step, and despite the fact that they're losing in terms of kills, VG.R have played a really efficient game. Experience-wise, they're a little bit further behind, but, taking the towers that they've been able to up in the top lane, No-No, despite the fact that he got killed, they were still able to take out that tier 2 tower, and again, it looks like they're just going to try and find the opening, and nobody wants to be the team that gets caught out.
Now, there's a small issue with VGR's draft. Their draft is starting to get scary when it comes to team fight. You've got 2 Blinks, you've got an Ursa that's going to be grabbing a Aghanim Scepter very shortly, which means he's going to have the 18-second cooldown on Enrage, or 24 right now because he's not level 16 yet. And you're also going to be dealing with a Black Hole Enigma. Like, everything on VGR is quite scary in a team fight scenario. But their push potential is not outstanding. The only hero on VGR's draft that can really start pushing is the Invoker for sure, and to a certain degree the Enigma, but FY is not really in a position to go for any sort of split push just because he doesn't have that Blink Dagger to fall back to if he does get found out. Like, he can send the Eidolons and all, but that just expires after a while. Whereas for IG, you've got Alina, which is going to hit naturally quickly, and then you've got the Sven, who can pop the God Strength just to take a tower down within the span of 10 to 15 seconds. Yeah. Which, it just gives IG more leeway. If they win a team fight, they can take so much more than VGR can. And I think the best play for IG is that to capitalize on this lack of push for VGR, just keep all the creep waves pushed so that even though VGR wins a team fight, it's going to take them too long to reach a tower to really grab anything beyond a potential T2.
I will say that I would agree with you that some of the, like, if you look at Lion and sort of particularly the Axe, I feel like is one of the best heroes for being able to push and then just like get quickly out of the way. Versus for IG, like, you can take them, but you kind of put yourself at risk as well. If you're the Witch Doctor, you throw out your coconuts, and then you end up, being in a little bit of a scary position because you have to right-click a couple of them. Lich, you can throw the Frost Armor on them, and they push sort of naturally, but I don't know. Neither side pushes incredibly fast without like bringing a core to the situation. So that's something to consider. But heroes are smoked up now. Again, looking through the mid lane, they're kind of spread out, but I have a feeling that we might end up seeing an engagement pretty soon as the fight for Roche is going to begin anew.
So what is IG looking? What is IG doing? Are they just going to be using Cutie as bait? Because it looks like both carries going to run right into each other. Blinks forward, stuns, misses on the Ursa. And VG.R are out of there. They're going to try and kite him while the BKB is up. And all of a sudden, Black Hole only connects onto one. It connects onto two. Cutie walked into it, but the Chrono! 4-hero Chrono for XXS. And unfortunately for the Witch Doctor, he gets taken down the moment the Chrono's taken down. That's going to be 3 heroes dead for VG.R. Buyback on the Invoker. He wants to come back into the fight, and he's dropping low. Gets Laguna down by the Lina. And Ferrari, he can't be chased down. Yang still wants that kill, and the Faceless Void is trying to buy time for Ferrari to get out. LSA, but there's the Berserker's Call. Is this going to be killing off Ferrari? Looks like he will be dropping to Yang at least. And when all that's said and done though, VG, they take some heavy hits in losing lots and lots of heroes and forcing out the buyback on the Invoker. Yang's still running, but he's gonna die. No denies from Roshan for you, my friend.
Oh, No might be looking for something here. He's getting a little bit fresh, and QD gets stunned up for a moment by that Roche, but yeah, it's gonna end it, and man, oh man. VG.R just took so much freaking damage in that fight, and it's exactly what you were talking about previously with that Sven combo, where you don't necessarily have to have Sven hitting anybody in the Chrono, you just let him hit everybody else after the fact, or follow up with a Stormhammer onto several, and it was absolutely expertly done. The Black Hole, like Sven walked into it, so we'll leave that alone for the moment, but regardless, it was really, really well executed by IG, and they have taken a pretty freaking big bite out of VG.R's gold lead, and now we're starting to shoot ahead in terms of experience.
I think we should also talk about XXS getting that 4-man Chronosphere in the backlines.
Totally.
Like, it was already a bad situation for VG.R to begin with. Like, it looked okay because they started to kite around the Sven, but because they were fighting in such a small area, they started to group up because they wanted to try and make something happen with the really nice Black Hole, but then all of a sudden you've got a Faceless Void that spots out an opportunity like that. Like, that's huge. That was a team fight turnaround, because that time bought with the Chronosphere was enough for not only the Black Hole to be cancelled or be finished, but it also helped IG sort of reposition themselves to really converge onto VG. So great play. And also you have an Aegis now picked up on Ferrari. This Lina is practically unstoppable.
See, this is the thing that's kind of sad about this right now for VG.R, is that their lineup, like, you pick the Axe who's going to be able to get you into a better position to fight, like, throughout the whole course of the game, because you can constantly jump in and hit, like, a big call or something like that, but then you also have to play around the Black Hole cooldown, so it's kind of this weird dyssynergy where when you have Black Hole up, you're able to fight, but this hero that's supposed to be able to make you fight whenever you want in Yang, the Axe, doesn't really still have that luxury because you don't have Black Hole. So I kind of feel like right now with VG.R's draft, they're really pigeonholed into needing another form of initiation or just another form of solid control. And I don't really know what the answer is as far as trying to come back into this game, besides just hoping that you're able to hit a big Black Hole. And if the Enigma doesn't make that happen, the game is going to be pretty much over at this stage for VG.R.
You can also say DDC could be making some of those plays happen. He doesn't have the Blink Dagger as of yet. We've actually seen a lot of teams really utilize Blink Dagger Lions in the past. So maybe once DDC starts picking up that Blink, then all of a sudden you've got 2 major Blink initiators in the Lion as well as the Axe to help set up for that Black Hole. Yeah. Because it doesn't mean the Enigma doesn't have to be the one to start the fight with the Black Hole. It can be the Axe to initiate for the Enigma Black Hole, just because of how the radius works with the call. So it really is dependent on, I think, a lot more on Yang to set up for the Enigma, just because FY didn't decide to go for that early Blink and rather go for that really early BKB, which at this point really hasn't paid off in any of the previous fights.
I mean, you can see the idea behind it, right? Like, the only way you cancel it was at the Chronosphere, but they haven't left themselves open, because at the end of the day, you still have to be able to hit several heroes in that and also have the follow-up. Like, that last engagement, had they not all got caught in the Chronosphere, the 4 heroes behind them, then they would have been able to probably win that team fight handedly, because you did have the 3 heroes that were caught all in a Black Hole. And they're not quite, there's always one piece missing in their draft. And it does feel like, you know, I wonder if they would have taken the Tidehunter instead, and you think about that in the last team fight. Obviously, you can't take those in a hole, but FY is just going to end up dying here. Well, maybe counter initiation with Tornado is there. They have Black Hole available if they want to go in on this again, but it does look like he's going to walk away. Ended up getting chopped down to size by that Sven. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yang trying to run away, does end up getting solo chronoed, and the Witch Doctor ultimate actually is still inside the chronosphere, so not doing the damage, but the follow-up is going to be there after the fact, and they end up being able to get another kill. Lena, meanwhile, on the other side of the map, ends up just being able to kill off the Lion, so he was a little bit too far forward, and now you suddenly have 3 heroes dead and a huge creep wave in the mid lane. This is terrible right now for VG.R.
Meanwhile, that's happening. You got No pushing up the top wave, so it looks like he's gonna try and at least force one hero to TP back from IG. But then again, it doesn't look like he wants to commit. He wants to defend that base, and with 3 heroes down, I'm not too sure No can really do too much. He's only gonna get the tornado connected onto one, and he's actually being jumped on. He insta ghost walks. He is so scared of being jumped on, but I wouldn't blame him because if he dies, that's one of the major heroes of VG gone. And there's no buyback on him either, so it could be a huge disaster if they lose No too soon. So they're gonna actually TP into the backside with the creep. Actually, Ferrari's creep gets killed off, so he's gonna walk back into the fight. We've got FY coming in, being hit down by QD. He still has the BKB. The Ursa's trying to fight up against the Sven, and now it's gonna be VG.R on the chase. They're trying to kill off QD. He actually gets 4-star forward. Got XXS in the backlines. Looks like he was trying to buy some time for his team. Mission success at least. They only took the T3, but with only the face exploit as the casualty, I'm pretty sure IG is content with what has just happened.
Yeah, they're super happy with that. They did a great job, and knowing exactly when they needed to back off as well was really, really key to them being able to take that one and not really lose too many heroes off the back of it. The thing that I will say is that, you know, No there on the Invoker, if he's able to hit those spells, like he's already got his Agnum Scepter, he's going to be able to get the Octarine Core. They've got great high ground defense and a really good capability to be able to sort of catch teams on their way out. So IG need to continue to be wary of this and make sure that they don't overextend when they're taking those pushes. But as long as they do that, they should be okay. And Sven right now, again, is just so freaking big in this team fights. You take a look at him, 2,100 net worth, Danelie, Helm of the Dominator, BKB, and it still has several charges too. 8 seconds at this point in time. IG are in such a good spot. I think that right now, if you're VG.R, you've got to get like, well, they need to not get killed off by a 5-man smoke gank is one thing. 4-man.
Oh, and it could be End as well. This is the Ursa with no buyback, and they found him. They're going to try and get him. He actually pops his Enrage just to try and escape everything, but with all the disable and all that's said and done, it's going to be a roasted bear, and all of a sudden, it's going to be 4 versus 5 in what could be another high ground attempt from IG. But you're looking at what VG.R is doing. They pushed the bottom lane, they pushed the top lane. VG might have to TP back to deal with these.
I think that they might be willing. I think at this point they're probably willing to let a tier 2 tower go down if they're able to get the racks. And the ping does come out that they're going to be continuing to go for this. Nono's going to lay on down an ice wall here right at the start, and QD might think about popping the BKB for this. He goes for the God Strike instead. He's just going to hold on for now and take this one down. There's going to be a call there by Yang trying to pull him back, but the creep wave respawned, and now they're going to be able to catch him in the meantime. They throwing down the Sunstrike onto QD, dropping very low. He does end up maybe going down. They get the chop, and he's going to end up exploding. On the other side, XXS, he's trying to get away. He is going to end up getting caught out. Deafening Blast going to be committed, and suddenly you've got 2 heroes dead. They might be able to kill off Bobaka as well, and the PP over to the other side. This is going to be Ferrari trying to push out this creep wave as quickly as he can because he knows what's going to start coming his way. And man, this was a really well played committal by VG.R.
Oh god, that turned into a complete and utter disaster. And it was an added bonus that the Sven walked into the chrono. It was so much set up for No to just finish him off. They're gonna get another kill onto Wrong. Everything's gone wrong. IG, they've given away so much to VG.R. Did you see how many items they picked up after that engagement? They picked up an Octarine on their Invoker. They picked up a BKB on their Axe. Like after one team fight, you're getting some major items on the side of VG.R, and because they didn't push these top and bottom creep waves, you got VG.R starting to knock on the IG's base, but Ferrari gets a kill at least, but he's gonna lose his own life. He has buyback, however.
You've got a bunch of other heroes that are all coming up right now, and most importantly, potentially, is going to be the Chronosphere, which actually isn't up for another 37 seconds. Man, this is really, really too bad right now, but XXS, he is going to be able to pick up his Agnum Scepter if he wants to. I really feel like he has to save for buyback, though, at this point, because one more teamfight death, and you can potentially just lose the game. You have to have buyback, just because of how quickly you can get bursted by VG.R.
Oh, jeez. And all of a sudden, you can see how quickly VG.R is punishing IG for simple mistakes. And I was talking about this earlier, the creep wave. If you don't deal with the creep wave, but you lose a high ground push, then all of a sudden, the opposing team can just run up that creep wave and just start whacking on your T3s. They're going to try and catch on to QD, though. Do they have enough initiation? They're hexing him, they're fingering him, the Sunstrike's there. They're also going to get a call as well. They're killing kill off QD. He has buyback. The Chrono connects onto no one, unfortunately. And all of a sudden, the big bad bear on
What is happening?
It's a bit the lich of IG. What is happening? They have lost another 3 heroes in the bottom lane, and they're going to start whacking on the T3s.
All right, this is so. What is going on right now? April Fool's Day is over. Come on, guys, let's get back in the game. Sven is going to buy back into this one, and I think they might need a little bit more than that, but right now, again, the only person was Lena. What happened to Faceless Void's buyback? He bought his Aghanim Scepter! Oh no! There's going to be the EMP onto 2, and they're going to have to back out. Oh, wow, they're off on the other side now, jumping onto Ferrari. He's going to end up going down again. They're just... Stop the bleeding!
Ferrari keeps dying to try and get solo kills. He can't afford to do that. He should be in the base defending with the team. And now it's going to force out a buyback. Their Raxes are under siege. They still haven't killed off any VG.R Raxes. IG, they need to get their stuff together.
They've got the blink on Sven. They can jump in again. They are going to be able to hex him up right at the start, though. He's in a little bit of trouble. They do have the Earth Spike, and it looks like they're going to back out for the moment. But man, oh man, what a terrible couple of minutes for IG. They are... Look at that graph. That's a 25, or what is that? That's 15,000 net worth swing in the course of about 2 minutes, roughly. That was...
It's as if IG just... They flicked the match and they dropped it into the gas, and all of a sudden VGR's just turned into an inferno. IG, they made small mistakes, and then they became bigger mistakes. They didn't put band-aids on it. It went infected, and all of a sudden you've just been caught with a serious case of VGR. They just swarmed IG's base, and they were completely crazy with these kills. And I think IG, they just responded to this quite badly. Like, they were throwing bodies in particular just to grab these small minor kills on supports, which it doesn't really matter when it comes to high ground defense, because you should be hitting the ones trying to get rid of your towers and such. IG, they lost such a massive lead.
This has been a real struggle, and again, it's like there's all of these moments where it feels like, all right, they're going to be able to come back into it, and it doesn't end up happening. And I think that IG are sort of like, it's that sort of quicksand effect, you know, where you want to try and make a play and then you just keep on digging yourself into a deeper and deeper hole, because that's how quicksand works. But regardless, a smoke play seems to be maybe the answer next, as, you know, you do have one on this Witch Doctor, but it's also kind of telegraphed that this is going to happen. The other thing that we didn't end up talking about yet, Witch Doctor does have his Aghanim Scepter, so there's an opportunity here for another comeback if they're able to get a solid Chronosphere off. He just needs to make sure that he ends up hitting that outside of the Chronosphere, and they could kill everybody in like a matter of a couple of seconds. So that's going to be the play, I think, for IG.
I'm so concerned now for IG's sake. But for VGR, what a remarkable comeback. They just, small mistakes from IG, and they capitalize on it so much. Now it's going to be VGR showing IG some respect in the mid lane. They're going to take it nice and slow. They're not going to rush it. And it looks like they're going to have the Invoker try and go for a bit of split push with the Forge Spirit. So it's going to force someone to at least defend the top lane, forcing only 4 IG heroes in the mid lane. And that could be the opening that VGR is looking to really get on top of them and take this mid set of Raxes down.
Well, and again, it's one of those moments where it's like you don't have the Batrider or somebody else to pull somebody out of the fray right at the start of it. So it's a little bit more difficult to take the high ground of IG, and that's the little thing that they can do. The problem is they've also got the Forge Spirits. There's going to be the jump forward. Ferrari and pulled out of the base. They have been able to get the Chronosphere onto 2, DDC as well as Yang, and there's going to be the Aegis down as well. Laguna Blade already committed. I don't know if they're going to be able to find this kill, though. They haven't committed the Black Hole yet for it if they wanted to, and it looks like for the moment there's going to be the counter initiation and running forward. They throw the Stormhammer. Ice Wall has already been committed. The Blink back. There's the Meteor Deafening Blast, but nothing yet, and they're going to call it for the moment as they've already lost their Lion for the Witch Doctor.
I think at this point it's enough to sort of force VGR back. They don't want to give too much away to IG. They don't want to get caught out, and without the Lion, that's one of their main disablers of their team. Like, we've seen how quick DDC's reaction has been with getting some of these hexes down. And if you're going to be fighting without him, are they really trying to go high ground without their Lion?
It's a bold move, Cotton. They're going to try and do this as quickly and quietly as they can. They also don't have Aegis, which is the other thing that's a little bit nuts. They bait out the Glyph, at least for the moment. I guess the other thing to consider is that they don't have their Witch Doctor for this fight, which means they don't have that huge source of the Agnum Scepter damage that they need to be as concerned about. Because, again, like catching a bunch of heroes in a Chronosphere with the Sven, it's not as big of a deal as the Witch Doctor Ags. So there's something to be said about that, but the other thing to keep in mind is they've had this Observer Ward here for IG the entire time, so you need to be like really careful about your movements, and it looks like for the moment at least they're going to back out. Let's take a look at big items. Oh, never mind, they're going for they're going for this.
But no one from IG showing themselves outside of their base.
They've got a Lincoln Sphere as well, and the Blink Dagger on Enigma. So if they're able to spot one of these, like, he could go on this, and it would be pretty huge. They reapply the Lincolns, looking for the opening. If he could catch a black hole right here, this would be game almost. It looks like they're going to take the tower from the low ground. It's a pretty nice one.
Patient play. IG don't know where VG.R are, and they can't really jump on.
He's just going to take the barracks.
So you've got to be so careful though. You don't know where half these VG.R heroes are. The smoke does expire now, and they're going to have vision of these heroes at least, but IG, they're just waiting. They're waiting for that opening, but they just can't find it. They're so scared of being caught out by VG.R again.
But they can't just, like, let this happen. They're about to lose their range barracks for nothing. Like, literally the only committed spells here are Alacrity and Forge Spirits, and they're about to lose their barracks. Like, that is so value if you're VG.R. They can just do this for the rest of the game if they want to. Like, you have to make a play now if you're IG.
They have to make the play, but they're trying to make the right play. I don't know if they can actually make the right play in time, considering how quickly VG.R is starting to just annihilate their base. Oh, jeez. IG, what has happened? They were honestly on top of the world, and it's as if someone just pulled the plank from under them. Oh, they're trying to catch out No-No, but it's just too quick.
Like, this is maybe, I remember a while ago, when was it? It was probably like 6.83. They had the slow siege mechanic that you would have with a Shadow Fiend up on high ground with Aegis, BKB, and all this other stuff. And then you'd have like a Venge that could swap them out. And this feels like committing even less than that, which is like a new way that we've seen Invokers do it, but it's just showing a lot of patience by VG.R. Being said, Yang is going to end up getting scouted out here. The smoke breaks. He blinks back the other direction, and a little bit of a strange combination. He is going to be able to walk away from this, forced after the low ground. What is happening right now? They break the trees open. Yang is still scouted, and the BKB's been popped for QD. They haven't killed anybody, and they managed to catch him finally.
Oh, they could probably, if they kill up the Faceless Void, that's a huge amount of control not available, and he's dead with no buyback. They're going to purge wrong. They're going to grab an easy little kill here onto the poor Lich. Doesn't get the Sunstrike down, but it really doesn't matter. That's 2 heroes dead with no buyback on the side of IG. Black Hole still hasn't been used. They still have Finger of Death. They've still got the call. Then there's the Black Hole on the last 2 heroes.
Jeez. Oh, what a way to end it. QD gets fingered to death. Ultra for end, and buybacks coming abound. They do have 3 heroes here to try and counter-initiate, but again, as you said, no Void available, and gets stunned up for the moment. Counter-initiation with Tornado. They're going to call it good for the moment. There's the Laguna Blade committed, still not dead. He does get killed to the tower damage, and there's going to be the Chain Frost bouncing, and it ends up expiring on the Invoker with the Ghost Walk going. They're still got the eyes on the prize, though. FY taking down barracks. DDC ends up getting stunned up. They haven't been able to kill him yet. Yang with the counter-initiation. Again, the BKB's been popped by QD, but he is still getting somewhat controlled. He's going to run through the ice wall now. He's just going to get killed to death. I think, can they find it? FY Malefice, that's committed, and he ends up going down. Everybody's dead, and the base as well. It's no exception.
And this looks like it's pretty much it. There's really nothing IG can do. Like, the Faceless Void is back now, but that's after they've lost their middle set of Raxes. And I think at this point, if you're IG, this is your last stand. They're going to wait for the Sven for another 100 minutes, but for VG.R, they don't mind waiting. They're probably thinking that they've got this game in the bag already.
Look at the graph. It went from a 5,000 lead for IG to 30,000 into the favor of VG.R. Granted, this game was like tremendously closer than the other two that they played just a little while ago, but VG.R are really showing their stuff. Like in the first two games that they played in the WCA qualifiers, they showed that they're capable of being able to win handedly. Now they're showing that they're capable of coming back from a loss. This VG.R team, they're going places. You got to watch out for them in open or in the qualifiers for middle major, I swear.
Fingers crossed. We'll see if they actually make it that far.
That's true.
So for now, I suppose it's just a waiting game now. Just depends on whether VG.R wants to go or not. There's no Roche for... Okay, this looks like it's pretty much almost the max duration Roche. It's another about 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the next Aegis, so...
They've called it, though. They're going straight down there. That's what Yang says. I will say, if I'm IG at this point, you got to start thinking about just GGing out. Like, you've already played 2 series against this team. You want to just maybe try and get your head straight and put yourself in a position where you can, you know, draft effectively next game. Like, it's definitely a maybe if they feel like they can still win it, then it's worth staying in, obviously. But I don't know. It's a very hard time getting back into this one from here.
Unless IG is sort of hoping that VG.R makes the same mistake that IG did. And if you take a look at buyback status, there's only 2 buybacks left, the Invoker as well as the Lion. And if IG actually wins a nice team fight handedly, they could try and go down mid, bypass the Raxes, and probably commit for T4s. Because I don't think there's really any options left here for IG. It's pretty much their last stand if they do manage to win that team fight.
Yeah, and I think that they realize this as well. Like, you're seeing that the Axe that he's saving for buyback, I believe, at this point, Enigma as well, and there's a long respawn time. Well, maybe not. They're going for the smoke play now. This is rather bold, and they are going to be bringing an item on the courier. This is actually going to be a sheep stick that's coming out to them, and I believe that that's going to be on the Lina.
QD needs to back up. He cannot afford to be the first one caught out. His team can come in after him, but oh, there's so much damage on VG.R. They're just waiting for QD to move a little bit further out. And look at the positioning. They see the Ursa now, and all of a sudden IG, they get the idea. They know that they're smoked up, and that's not going to be a surprise anymore.
Yeah. Well, this allows IG to put themselves in a position to respond. And Witch Doctor's hiding off to the side. They could be looking for another Chrono into that, you know, Death Ward. And if they're able to make that work, that combination right there is game-winning if you can hit it. Looks like VG.R are going to move forward again. They're kind of grouped up, and there's the blink forward. End is going to be scouted out for the moment. Again, Sheep Stick is available. They're going to wrap around. Up here on the top is going to be Witch Doctor looking for another angle of initiation. They throw on out a couple more, and he's going to feel so comfortable just hitting away at this. Like, again, the Sheep Stick's been committed first time, but it's so hard. Anything else? QD jumps forward, hits on a Yang, dealing a lot of damage. BKB has already been popped by both sides. He's able to get another couple of shots off. Ice Wall's been committed, and this could potentially be it. They've already killed off one of the barracks. There's the Chronosphere, only hits onto one, and it's not nearly enough. Finger onto QD. They're going to be able to get the Black Hole onto him, and nothing that they're going to be able to do to stop this. The Laguna Blade's been committed. Ferrari goes down. Everybody is dying. It looks like they're going to end up getting Mexa Creeps and probably the game as well, as we continue with the slideshow Dota, and there's going to be the Sunstrike. Everybody goes down. Oh, man.
3rd game in a row now for IG. God, VG are going to be feeling so good as a team. Almost losing this game. If IG never made that initial mistake, I think it would have been an IG game for sure.
You can see now that the lag all expires as soon as we leave the server. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree. And there were moments there where it felt like VG.R, you know, they were falling behind, and IG was sort of trying to play catch-up, or rather flip that around, that they were trying to play catch-up, and IG were able to respond effectively. And at the end of the day, it kind of came down, I think, one, to maybe Lina getting caught out a few too many times, and she's such a squishy hero as is that your positioning just has to be immaculate.
Oh, so we're going to be moving into game 2 between VG.R versus IG. VG obviously 1 game ahead. IG, they need a break. They need a win. And is it going to be game 2? For them, obviously, they're going to be trying their best to bring it to game 3, but I don't know if VG.R is going to let them. VG.R have been relentless the moment you give them a head start.
Absolutely, and you need to be really careful about that and make sure that you get off to winning your lanes, maybe think about going for a push strat even, but we'll see that in just a couple of minutes as we're going to move on to game number 2 here, VG.R versus IG. This is again going to be to decide who moves on in the upper bracket, and again, the upper bracket team that they're going to have to face would be eHome, which is a pretty tough one to begin with. The loser of this series is going to move on in the losers bracket to face off against cdec.youth, which takes place immediately following this game. So potentially, the team that ends up losing this, if IG loses the next game, they would lose 4 in a row and then have to face in a loser's bracket elimination matchup. So a lot of stress and pressure is going to be felt on this next game here. Thank you guys for watching again. Sorry about the lag. It is just one of those server things that ends up happening, and stick around for more the H Cup presented by BTS. See you guys in a second.